Hi, my name's Yvonne Zipter. I'd like to read a short passage to you from my new novel, Infraction, which is set in the 1870s in St. Petersburg, Russia. It follows the lives of two lesbian women at that time and is based on some archival material about two actual women um, from that time. I am going to read chapter 1. Marya. The wood of Marya's desk wore a skin of dust and was littered with an untidy heap of papers, worn pencils, a circular brass logarithmic scale, a pen with an ink-crusted nib, a protractor, and broken bits of eraser, all also covered in dust. During the many months of her long depression, she had neglected her work, leaving her desk to stand lonely as a grave marker. If you put so much as a pair of mittens on an already heavy cart, you will notice it immediately, thought Marya, shaking her head sadly. Loss plus loss plus loss to the nth equals too much to bear. Marya automatically translated the old proverb into a mathematical equation of sorts in her head. The deaths of her mother, then brothers, and finally her father, those have been true agonies to withstand. And they had indeed brought her to her knees. Yet each time she forced herself to rise again, to move forward, to carry on with life. But when it came to Katya, her departure was the additional weight on the already heavy cart. The ensuing depression into which Marya plunged was like a bottomless well. She had grown weak, unkempt, listless. And this is the result, she thought, brushing some dust from the desk, then lifting a sheet of paper to blow the dust off of it. How her aunt had tried to rouse her. Lydia had devised all manner of distractions and outings for her, and when none of them worked, she began inviting gentlemen callers to their home for twice-weekly salons, insisting Marya attend. The best and brightest of St. Petersburg, her aunt had said. Marya shook her head at the memory. Week after week she had remained entrenched in her lethargy. But the vapidity of these gentlemen callers, oh, she'd been roused all right, but perhaps not in the way her aunt had been hoping. The polite prattle of these so-called gentlemen threatened to numb her brain like a draught of absinthe, and she found herself itching again to challenge her mind. She sat down now at her desk for the first time in months, dismayed at the disarray, but determined to impose a sense of order so that she might again resume some measure of mathematical study. Among the many scattered tools and mathematical scribblings, Marya found a draft of a letter she had written to Grisha, her mathematics instructor at the St. Petersburg Institute for Girls. She was dismayed at how pitiful she sounded, even to herself, and how transparent her protestations in that missive seemed. She couldn't recall now whether she had in fact posted a copy of this letter, but hoped that, if so, her final version excluded the sort of cheerless, formalist musings she found upon the page before her. Mathematics, she read. The symbols are quite meaningless as the entirety of life. We move the symbols around as though with reason, but it's not but a game, Grisha. How is it you persist when your livelihood is bereft of meaning? You and I, we should do honest work, Grisha. Fashion leather into humble boots, or till the fields. Even selling kvass upon the streets would be more honest, for don't people need to drink and wash away their sorrows? She groaned aloud as she scanned the further contents of the letter, praying she hadn't sent the letter in any version. The rules, how arbitrary are the rules? Can I not as easily tell you pi equals 2004 or 0.11 as 3.14? We have assigned a certain meaning to pi that allows us to play games in which we say, here the size of the circle, or the way across from this side to the other is so many units, much as we have assigned the name shoe to the leather article that houses a foot. If we had given it instead the name dog, then each day I would be hooking closed the buttons of my dog. Here she couldn't quite suppress a little chortle, confronted with this comical image. But no such humor seems to have seized her, it would seem, the day of the letter's writing, for she went on there in quite a sour vein. And then what have we proved, Grisha? I'm at pains to understand how such games played with symbols, meaningless marks created by whom, once gave me solace. Looking at these words, Marya's face showed the strain of trying to reach again whatever place she'd been in that would bring her to say such unfeeling things about something so vital, so primal as mathematics. Meaningless? All of human progress had ridden on the back of numbers. Games with symbols? Bridges, houses, the huffing engine of a train, none would be present across the globe were it not for mathematics. A house might be built with no reckoning of units, but the many-sized walls would wobble in the fierce winds that shriek across the Gulf of Finland, or beneath winter's heavy white cap of snow. And soon such a house must surely topple to the ground. What conceit, she thought, to believe that she, or any human, might of a whim or fancy invent mathematics. The elements of mathematics were like a vein of gold, waiting only to be tapped, or like trees which are there whether one looks upon them or not. Unable, happily so, to regain that dark point that would have spawned the sort of despair that would cause one to deny the existence, the pure fact, the supremacy of mathematical knowledge, caused Marya to shake her head in sad wonder. What manner of misery would deny the importance of a factorial? She was incredulous at her own audacity, hardly believing it was she who had written such scurrilous words. Again she prayed she had not sent such a hateful letter to someone like Grisha, who alone, among all her limited circle, revered the power of mathematical inquiry. Marya tore the letter in fourths and placed the pieces into the ceramic stove, pausing before closing the door in order to watch them turn to ash.